Hi, everybody. This is Jerry from Meditate With Me, and this is our podcast, Seeking the Light, where we believe asking questions is the answer, and the journey is more important than the destination. We're so glad you stopped in today to spend a little time with us. Hi, everybody. This is Jerry from Meditate With Me, and this is our podcast. We're on episode 11, and today I want to talk about some wonderful people that I met yesterday. They graciously invited me to come and speak to them about meditation and mindfulness and then lead them in a short meditation, knowing that I have never spoken about this in front of a group. Speaking with this microphone is a whole different situation, as I found out, but everything went swimmingly. I left yesterday feeling enriched. And I want to thank these wonderful folks and just make the comment that if all interactions between human beings always resulted in both sides leaving feeling enriched, just think how much better off this world would be. So I want to thank them for the invitation. I had a wonderful time, and I would come back and talk with those folks at any time. So what I really want to talk about today is we had a little question and answer period, and they asked some very good questions. And because I was live, and as much as I thought I was in a very mindful, calm state, I had some nervousness about me, and I want to make sure I answer their questions correctly. So I'm going to go through the ones, and I have to rely on my memory. So if I didn't remember all the questions, I apologize in advance. So here we go. These are questions that are asked fairly often, and they bear repeating on this podcast, because if you're just starting out, these are probably questions that you could have. So the first one I want to talk about is, how long do you meditate, and how long should we meditate if we're just beginning? Well, actually, how long a person meditates is up to them. What feels comfortable for them. What fits into their busy lifestyle. I make it a point to meditate every day. And currently, I set the timer for my end of the day meditation, which is the longest I meditate anytime during the day. I set that timer between 20 and 45 minutes. And mostly, how long I set it for depends on how tired I might or might not be, because it can be late until I get to this point in my day. I will have short sessions throughout the day when I feel the need to collect myself or concentrate before starting a project, and those might be as short as a couple of minutes. And then to answer your question about how long would be good to begin with, I would suggest 5 minutes, but if you only have time for 2 minutes, then start there. You'll feel when it's right to increase the time. And once your meditation becomes more of a practice, if you can find the time to dedicate to yourself and set aside between 5 and 20 minutes, I think that's enough to make a difference. I think that'll make a difference in your life. Making it a practice is the key. Persistence is everything. The second question revolves around this statement. So far, the only thing we've talked about today is concentrating on our breath. When you meditate, is that what you do? Yes, we are talking about concentrating on our breath. The breath is our starting point. There are variations on breath meditation, but I always start and end there, even when guiding a meditation online. Our breath is our connection to life. It suggests to us staying in the present moment. It makes us aware of this moment right now. Yesterday's breath is a memory and cannot sustain us. Tomorrow's breath is anticipation and cannot sustain us. We are alive now, and only this breath right now is what we need, and that's what we concentrate on. Question number 3 is, I keep hearing the heating system and even the clock ticking, and it distracts me. What do I do? This is a really good question, and it cuts to the core of meditation. Distractions are a part of everyday life, and we deal with them constantly. When you are meditating and the heating system is loud and it distracts, just acknowledge that thought and recognize it. Think to yourself, I hear the heating system. And now I'll concentrate on my next inhale and notice the coolness of the air at the tip of my nose when I inhale and the warm moistness of the air on my next exhale. Now, when you hear the clock ticking, do the same thing. The key is recognize the thought, recognize the distraction, and then turn your concentration back to your breath. This activity, this repetition, will strengthen your ability to handle other distractions during your day. This next question also cuts right to the core of everything we talk about with mindfulness and meditation. This person asked, when I am stressed or angry or anxious and can't settle down or concentrate, should I try to meditate? And the answer is a big yes. There are guided meditations that can help with those situations. But when you are by yourself, just collect yourself and take a couple of deep, centering, relaxing breaths, asking your shoulders to drop, asking them to relax, and then become comfortable and start with one breath. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils and the warm, moist air leaving as you exhale. Then take another breath, just feeling the air entering and leaving your body. Do this for as little as 1 or maybe 2 minutes, and you might be surprised in the way that you feel. Don't worry if you can't carry on for very long. Even a few breaths or 1 or 2 minutes can make a big difference in the rest of your day. The next question is one that I really don't hear very often, but it's a very valid, very good question. And it is, should a person meditate if they've taken any kind of intoxicant? Well, keep in mind, I'm not formally trained, but my personal opinion is that there isn't really any time that you shouldn't meditate. And here's a couple of thoughts that I have on that subject. It might be difficult to concentrate, but on the other hand, it might help you regain some concentration. Another point might be, it might be hard to stay awake. Been there. I had not intended on giving up the occasional drink, but as I meditated more and more, I found myself consuming less and less, to the point now that I don't really seem to drink at all anymore. Now, will I ever have another beer? I don't know, but I don't rule it out. However, part of the reason that I do meditate is to achieve greater clarity in my mind. And I just don't get that excited anymore about adding things to my body that can decrease that clarity. Okay, here's question number 6. What do you do if you fall asleep while meditating? Well, yes, this happens, usually when I'm very tired. I've pretty much learned that when I'm tired, that I should shorten the timer to a length of time that I think I can stay awake. And my other comment would be, at least it suggests that you've reached a point of very good relaxation. This question, I have to say, I have not been asked before, But it's really a good question. It's really a good observation. Um, I was talking briefly about looking deeply at a flower, and that if you look deeply at a flower and can see the universe, you're really beginning to understand the interconnection of all things. And this person asks, this sounds somewhat like what the hippies were talking about back in the 60s and 70s. Is there a connection? Well, yes, I think there is a connection. While the specific practice of looking deeply into a flower and seeing the universe as a meditative exercise might not be completely tied to the hippie movement, but it certainly shares the movement's appreciation for mindfulness, nature, and spiritual exploration. This is a practice that kind of transcends any one era, uh, and it continues to be a benefit for people seeking peace and understanding in the modern world. And the other thing that was happening in that same time period was in the 50s and 60s, we began to see the first wave of Buddhist and Eastern philosophers of all spiritual backgrounds making their way to the United States. And more than just one or two landed on the West Coast in the areas that the hippie movement was big. And the hippie movement kind of latched on to the mindful lifestyle and the meditative lifestyle and the practice of contemplating nature. And that's what I think makes us feel like looking into these things today reminds us of the hippie movement. But the basis for this left a mark on Western thought and practices that continue today. You see it in all the modern secular wellness industries that promote the different types of mindful lifestyles to help ease the stress and anxiety that this chaotic world that we live in thrusts upon us all. Now I think it's time for us to move on and get ready to have a short meditation. And I think today, let's concentrate on our breath and try to have a few moments of stillness. As we begin our meditation today, I always ask people to find some place safe before they settle in and start the meditation. But let me expand on that safe just a little bit. That not only means find a place that you'll be safe from distraction or safe from interruption. It means if you're driving a car or operating heavy equipment or doing anything that you need to concentrate on to accomplish safely, why don't you just put this on pause and continue with the meditation when you can get somewhere that is actually truly a physically safe place for you to be, and turn your concentration inward instead of outward where it must be when you're operating a vehicle or equipment. Our meditation today will be a concentration on our breath designed to bring stillness to our mind and body. It is suitable for beginners or those with more experience. Let's begin by finding a quiet place that's safe from interruption for the next few minutes. Find a comfortable posture, either seated, lying down, or standing. Become grounded in your posture, feeling the contact points between you and the surface that you're on, and feel the connection between you and the earth, and settle down and become relaxed. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. This may help reduce visual distractions. Now let's turn our attention to our breath by taking a deep breath in through our nose and exhaling, gently blowing through our lips and feeling the tension leave our shoulders, allowing them to drop and become relaxed. Let's take another deep breath, filling our lungs, and then exhaling by blowing gently through our lips, allowing our shoulders to drop and even relax more. Let's take one more deep, relaxing breath, inhaling fresh air and exhaling by blowing gently through our lips, asking the rest of the tension, stress, anxiety, anger, and tension to leave our bodies. Now let your breath return to its normal rhythm, just noticing the air, how cool it is on the inhale inside the tip of your nostrils, and how warm and moist it is upon the exhale. Just allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm, just concentrating on your breath. If you find it difficult to concentrate on your breath, try counting your breath this way. Count 1 on the inhale and 2 on your exhale. Continue this until you reach 10 and then start over. If thoughts intrude, just acknowledge them and come back to your breathing and start over at 1. We'll take a few moments now to practice. Remember, it's natural to have thoughts enter your mind. It's what our minds do. So just acknowledge those thoughts. If it's a sound, if it's a chore that you need to do, if it's an anticipation of something that has to be on your schedule for tomorrow, acknowledge it, don't judge it, and just return your attention to your breath. With our attention still on our breath, feeling the cool air on the inhale in our nostrils and the warm, moist air on the exhale. Just breathing in our normal rhythm. Let's just enjoy the stillness this has brought to our body and mind. As we now come to the end of this meditation, let's take a moment and consider these words. With each breath, I embrace the calmness and clarity. I am grounded in the present, and my mind is at peace. I carry this tranquility with me through the day. When you're ready now, begin to move your fingers and toes and become aware of the environment around you, the sounds, the temperature of the air, any activity that you may be aware of, and gently open your eyes. This practice was designed to anchor you in the present moment, reducing stress and help quiet the mental chatter. Remember, it is okay if your mind wanders or if you find it difficult at first. Mindfulness is a skill that improves with practice. Now, as always, I would like to wish you peace and tranquility for the rest of your day.